Welcome to stream 7 of Nascimento Marketing's 32 Blitz presented by Living Sport. I'm Christopher Nascimento. I'm going to be hosting the stream and the whole tournament. So you're going to be hearing a lot of me going forward. But before we get into our other guests, let's also just go over the rules quickly. Every stream is going to be a best of 3 series. So whoever wins 2 games wins the night. Since we play a bunch of different sports as well, whether it's Madden, 2K, NHL, FIFA, to keep it consistent, we're going to do 12-minute games. So today for NBA 2K, it's going to be 3-minute quarters. Winner advances to the second round of the tournament. And then to select the teams, we're going to do teams are going to be selected via random. So the 2 guys playing, they can do random twice, pick between, Raptors, Celtics. But then if they don't want either team, they can go for a third random, but if you get stuck with the Knicks on the third, you get stuck with the Knicks on the third. That's about it. And now let's just go to today's guest. So let me just take off the mic. Up top, we have Amadou from Concordia. Below me, we have Devin from McMaster. And then below Devin, we have Michael, an alum of the Living Sport. But yeah, guys, you want to kind of introduce yourself from the order I introduced you?
Well, I'll start with me, I guess. My name is Amadou. I'm a current student at Concordia. Went part-time for the first semester. I'm going full-time in the coming semester. Guess that's all I got to do.
Yeah, maybe I'll here. Let's get the game started so you guys are kind of distracted first, and then that's when you'll open up a bit more. We'll kind of go from there. So click advance. I noticed that too. You don't want to just be in the waiting room lobby. And I'll kind of give a quick rundown so you guys can, blab away about yourselves.
3 minutes. We're good on pro, right?
Yeah.
Go to private match, exactly. So then you guys can do the random. Yeah, that's good like that.
Oh, and shut it again. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I get home. I like to see it. What I like to see.
Yeah, dude, you get home too because of the banner, so that's good. Devin, if you could put on a white jersey just because the banner and McMaster is on the white.
Okay, all right.
Just so it's easier to differentiate who's who. And then, yeah, I can't really see. I think random square. But you guys can kind of do the random and kind of go from there.
All right. First random. Celtic.
Oh, I got Milwaukee. I think I'm staying with Milwaukee.
That means game's over, right? You already won.
Yeah. You guys are good with the Celtics and Bucks?
I'm good with the Bucks.
Okay.
I took my second one, but I got USA.
No,
Do I get
again. Just go again.
Yeah. You know what? I'll take the death pick. Let's see what we get.
Taking the death pick. He's gonna get the Knicks.
Over the Celtics.
Right.
That's risky.
LeBron.
Oh, I thought it was... Okay, Go again.
Go again?
Yeah.
All right.
Cavs. Ooh, you hate to see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, DeRozan. It's not bad.
Wait, what? Devin, don't you have to go Cavs? That was your third?
Yeah, no, I gotta go Cavs. Yeah. Sorry, it was a little delayed. I thought you said...
No. That's fine. Yeah, shout out to the Cavs. Shout out to my podcast, The Route. We had the director of business development of the Cavs on a few weeks back. Great episode. Got a lot of amazing feedback from that, so everyone should check it out because I know the guys on the stream already watched it, and the thousands of listeners on the stream too have already seen it. But yeah. So just I guess select the jerseys, go from there, and then we can start breaking down who's who, what's what, and yeah. You guys good? Yeah. Maybe Michael, while they're getting this set up, you can kind of give the rundown. So this is what I want from you guys. Where you go to school or went to school, what kind of industry or specific position you're looking for, marketing, sales, BD, analytics, operations, whatever in sports, and maybe something interesting about yourself that you've been doing during COVID, because everyone's probably trying to find something new to tackle.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I'm Mike. I'm from Pennsylvania. Currently live in Utah. I went to Kutztown University and graduated in 2017. For about 2.5 years, I've been working for a company called Legends, and we're a sport entertainment consulting company. So one of our clients is out here in Utah. So I've been out here for about a year, and I'll be out here for about another 1.5 years. So right now I'm a premium sales manager for the University of Utah, with the new expansion project that we're doing at Rice-Eccles Stadium, which is for their football team.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but I've been to Utah before. I went to the Zion National Park.
Oh,
Are you
that's
close
amazing.
to yeah, it's amazing.
I live about 4 hours away. I live in the north part of the state, and Zion's all the way down at the bottom part of the state by Arizona.
Okay.
Tell you what, I was there in August of last year, and man, that place is unreal.
It's crazy. I went in January, and there's rams, deers everywhere. It's unreal. These guys are getting excited about the game. Devin, you're a little too excited, so let's talk about yourself so we can keep the same level of energy.
I thought he was excited about the moose.
Oh, yeah, the moose.
Yeah. Yeah, so my name's Devin. Hello. I'm going into my 3rd year at McMaster University, and that's in Hamilton, Ontario. And yeah, I guess definitely interested in marketing. That's kind of been my focus so far, my education and like just experience I've been trying to get. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at in the future. And yeah.
Oh, that's good. Dude, now that you know the rundown of what I'm looking for, obviously, me and Dude went to high school together. That's why I'm going to bust on him a bit more. But yeah, we went to high school together. I know Dude, big basketball fan. Used to be a point guard in our college. We're from Quebec, so we have to do CEGEP, which is, I think, college in the States. But yeah, dude, you want to say what you want to do in sports and what you're interested in going forward?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, going through my first year of university at Concordia, one part-time, one full-time now. The program that I'm in right now is actually business tech management, but for the most part, my plan is to get into like the part of business where like in sports where I can use my use of technology and that field and try. I don't specifically know the positions that are available for that, but like in terms of the field I'm trying to get into, it's more based on the communications and use in sports and stuff like that, management.
Yeah.
Mainly.
There's for sure a bunch of positions going forward, whether it's like stats, analytics, even just operations or like management side of things, because just with the sheer amount of data that all the teams have, there's just more and more positions that are kind of accumulating. Because I know in the fall I was working, it's my last semester of university, I was working with a hockey startup that created 3 apps that basically tracked analytics for you just off your iPad. So basically if you go to a hockey game, in Canada specifically junior hockey, where they're scouting all the potential NHL players, you see a bunch of scouts at the top of the stands with a huge backpack, binders, papers, and it looks like you're in the 70s, right? It's paper and pencils, and we're in 2020. Devin smiles every time he gets a bucket. But
you got to celebrate the small things.
Yeah, 100%. But he looks at the camera and gives a little quick fist pump. I love it.
No, it wasn't me scoring though. That's the thing.
Or was it?
No.
Yeah, and basically what the apps did was take all the information that you would have been putting in all these binders just in a quick flip of the iPad. So that was pretty cool, and I'm sure there's just going to be more and more of that coming forward. But perfect rundown of everyone, a little bit of everything. We got doing a little bit deeper in Quebec. We got Devin deep into Ontario, and apparently Mike's in Utah. I thought you were in Pennsylvania, so that's
no.
That's good stuff.
I haven't been in Pennsylvania since Christmas, so it's been a little.
Do you have, obviously, maybe I already know the answer, but due to like COVID and everything going on, I don't know Utah too well, but what have you been up to like during these times?
Yeah, so in Utah, a lot of things are back and open. So, I mean, for instance, like the most affected part of the state is the city I live in, Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
But almost everywhere else in the state, it's like everybody's back to normal, just wearing masks when they go outside. So, for instance, gyms are open.
Wow.
Yeah, all the universities out here though are a little more skeptical, so we're still waiting on word for the fall semester. But yeah, it seems like life is almost back to normal out here, which is kind of weird. The only thing that's not normal is still working from home. So yeah,
I think it's starting to get like that as well here, but I think I live in Ottawa. I know Dude's living in Ottawa as well.
Yeah.
It seems like we're back to normal, but a lot of things are still closed. So you can obviously the weather's nice, so you can like walk around. You can go to a patio. Restaurants aren't open like indoors, and obviously businesses kind of closed. So it's kind of like a weird middle ground where you feel like it's normal, but then when you kind of stop and think, you're like, oh no, this isn't July or June, I should say. Yeah, my bad. That's on me. Pardon?
Yeah. I also look at it in a different way too. It's like if it wasn't for COVID, what's happening right in front of you would have been a lot harder to put on.
This would not have happened if it wasn't for COVID.
So got to look at some highlights of what's been happening in the past couple months.
For sure.
Just to keep you sane.
Yeah. If it wasn't for COVID, obviously I was like working on building, my connections and networking and all that. But with COVID, like just having the sheer amount of time, at your disposal, it allowed me to just start. Like I think at the start of the pandemic, my Instagram was at 70 followers, and now it's at like 1,200 or something. So and it's
for
just
your marketing one.
Yeah, for just the one that I started, and it's like where I post my podcast. There's nothing, I didn't buy anything, like no ads or anything like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And just I've said this either on a previous stream or a podcast, but I think like a tool that people don't usually think of, especially in sports, because I'm sure everyone knows how important it is with the people that in sports, and working off that network, is how Twitter and Instagram are so much more useful than you would have thought. It's more than just funny videos, funny clips, sports highlights, travel pictures, etc. I'm actually executives in, I don't know, playing for an executive for a basketball team in the States. I'm living in Ottawa, which isn't the biggest city in the world, and they happen to follow me, and I click on their profile by accident, and then it says, executive of so and so team. I'm like, no way. And then I shoot them a message, we get connected and have a call, and before I'm like, oh no, there's nothing there. And then Twitter is another great one because it's all in the bio. So I don't know if you guys do that as well, where you kind of network on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in New York for a year and a half, and I worked at One World Observatory selling events on top of the World Trade Center. So we had a lot of happy hours up there. So one of the bigger things that we did was prospect off of Twitter. So we looked up businesses and organizations that would do happy hours elsewhere in the city, and then we'd find out who the best contact was via Twitter for that group, and then we'd contact that person, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they have a happy hour on top of the World Trade Center. So you're talking about it using for connections. I'm thinking more of a prospecting tool for sales right now. It's a crazy tool that a lot of people need to start using.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was just saying more in terms of for instance, the whole way that my personal brand and the podcast took off. I was at a networking event. I just finished school in December, came back from my trip, went to a sports networking event, and I was talking to first and second years. And everyone's saying what they want to do in sports: baseball analytics, CMO, CEO, president, whatever, all great, ambitions. And then I'm like, what are you guys doing? So maybe I could pick their brain and maybe apply things to my own route. And everyone kind of hit a wall once you asked that question. Everyone had all these great ideas and just hit the wall, and then they would just continue doing whatever, working for the government, working, part-time, wherever, not really talking to anyone. And I'm like, oh, like, why? And they're like, oh, I don't really, like, know anyone. And, you know, and then, like, I don't know where to find people either. And it's simple, like, the different social media or platforms that all these students are on every single day. So that's kind of one of those reasons I keep trying to hammer home, like, Twitter is so much more than I even knew. But, yeah. Devin, I'm going to go at you a bit because you're kind of turned away from the camera. You smile.
Okay.
So you're talking about marketing, right? Or what's your degree? Are you a marketing student?
So I'm actually in business and humanities, so it's a mix of both. So I have like my core business courses, and then I also have some required humanities courses on top of that. We called the timeout. But yeah, so I don't know, it's really interesting. I kind of get a nice mix of some writing and just just learning about things that are going on in the world, I guess, through the humanities portion.
Yeah.
And then all like the core business, like accounting, finance, marketing, all that stuff on the business side. But I mean, really where I've kind of found my passion for marketing is just through case competitions, mainly. That's been the biggest thing, just being able to actually get hands-on experience with that and come up with solutions for different problems that companies have. That's been the best thing for me.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a pretty good thing that you brought up. And I don't know if I've touched on this on other streams though, but obviously, like, when someone comes out of high school and they go to post-secondary, you don't often know where to start, what club to join, maybe what program to go into, what events to go to, etc. And I get messages about that. Sometimes people even ask me what programs. I don't know how to answer that. I'm not a counselor. But just hearing what you're talking about, like going to these, case competitions, that's huge because obviously there's sports business clubs in most universities. I actually didn't find out about mine either. Maybe it was too small or didn't market to the business school because I got a business degree and they're more in the HK side of things. And it's important to like even push that just because you're not in a sport management degree, in university, let's say you're in just business or you're in, I don't know, mathematics or something, you can still get into sports. You don't just need the sport management degree. And Michael, I see you nodding your head. What was your specific degree, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, of course. So I double majored. I had a degree in marketing and a degree in sport management.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, about freshman year, I realized that I wasn't really being pushed too hard in one of the degrees. So I wanted to pick up another one to make myself more coveted when I graduate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, can you actually explain to me the levels of Canadian school you're speaking about? Because I heard post-secondary and I'm thinking that's like freshman and sophomore year of college in the States. Is that right?
Okay, so Devin is in Ontario, so it's exactly like you. Me and you went to high school and college in Quebec. So the way it goes in Quebec, we finished high school in grade 11.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you can go straight to university if you have like an 85, 90 average, I believe. But I think 99% of students go to CEGEP because, I don't know, going to university at 16, a little young. Especially, just doing all the freshman activities that you can get involved in. But
understand that.
Yeah. So basically the way it works in Quebec, finish in grade 11, then our grade 12 is basically first year CEGEP.
Okay.
And then second year, so CEGEP's 2 years. And then second year CEGEP is basically your first year of university. So for most schools, at least if you continue university in Quebec, you end up skipping first year of university and then just jumping up and keeping up with Ontario or American students in second year. So we finish school all at the same time, just Quebec does it a little differently. But
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's how it kind of works. And I know you guys kind of say colleges and universities are the same. So us, it's university, college, high school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, a little. I don't know why, but is there a difference between university and college in the States?
I always wondered that as well.
Right?
Yeah.
So Technically, there is.
Oh yeah.
So colleges and universities. So I went to Kutztown University. I graduated from the College of Business. So the university is usually the bigger institutions.
Yeah.
But there's also smaller. You can think of it as a smaller university where it's just like a small liberal arts school that has one specific study. That's usually considered a college. Okay. Now, granted, we always just say, "Oh, we're going to college," even if we're going to university. But yeah, so it's kind of like it's the same thing via like if I'm just talking to you about it, but there is a slight difference.
Okay, because I lived in Boston for 1 year in 7th grade, and so there's a bunch of universities there. Is Boston College different than Boston University whatsoever, or is it just a small school?
Yes. So I'm not sure which one's smaller or bigger, but Boston College is definitely.
Oh, I know they're separate. So there's like the Eagles, and then there's the Terriers, right? BU, Terriers, BC, I think it's Eagles. So obviously I know it's different schools, but would you say they're on the same level of like academics?
That's a good one. So I think Boston University is a bit more prestigious academically.
Okay, yeah.
Boston College does have a better sports program in terms of athletics.
Okay, so obviously there's different schools, right? Like depending on whatever school you go to. Some's higher than the others, obviously. Yeah. But in terms of, so I know in the States there's community college, right? Which is probably lower, and then there's probably smaller universities. I think you guys go state schools, right?
Yeah. So I went to a state school.
Okay. And then, you know what? Maybe this is just gonna get confusing. This is gonna be the whole stream. But yeah, we don't need to. Maybe I'll just go to Google. I'll go on to Google a little later and decide. This will be what day is today? Monday. It'll be my Monday fun. But yeah, let's just go a different route. Dude, I know you and I worked together at the football stadium. Dude was actually in what was it called? Electronics in SageUp?
In SageUp, electronics and IT. Yeah.
Electronics and IT. You want to talk about what made the switch and what made you realize you were more into the business and IT side of things?
I mean, for me, for the first year, I thought it was what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then after I kind of caught on mid to like the second semester of my second year that it's something that I realized it's not like I like the idea of like of tech and technology, but I never really got into it like outside of just school. Yeah. And I realized for that itself that you need to be able to be interested or like have like a passion for outside of school to be able to want to continue doing it. Which is why I was like, you know what, maybe it isn't for me.
Yeah, so that's why you kind of want a career in sports, right? Just
being
passionate. And then I know for me now that I get, because I used to be in accounting, so funny enough. So I'm thinking it's the same thing in the States and any other school for a business degree. Kind of the first 2 years you're doing the entry-level courses, right? Everyone does intro accounting, managerial accounting, finance, marketing, blah, blah, blah. And then I think, by your third year, that's when you kind of start specializing. And I realized by the end of my second year, because I was working in accounting, I absolutely hated it. I did well. Like I was offered a full-time job coming out of it, but I wasn't happy going to work, right? And you kind of want to be... I was looking at the clock. I was like, right? You don't want to be looking at the clock every few minutes.
It's only 9:25.
Exactly. Oh, I don't know. I used to go to work. So this is the crazy thing. So I worked a full summer, right? So it was full time in the summer. I would be at work, I think sometimes as early as 6:20 in the morning, and then that way I would finish at 2:20. And then that way it would kind of feel like I'd have my summer, so then I could kind of like still feel like I was outside, because I find if you go 9 to 5, then you bus home 6 o'clock, you eat dinner, then you're like, oh man, I gotta get up at 7, I gotta go to bed.
All your day right there.
Yeah, so I didn't enjoy it, and then I don't know if you're familiar with hockey too much, but the Ottawa Senators here, attendance was going down, and then I go to games a lot. I was like writing notes. I'm like, I would do this. I'd bring in fans this way, and also Baker Mayfield, right? He's going through the draft process. He has a marketing team with him. I'm like, I could do this. And then literally everything I saw was sports marketing. I'd watch a movie, boom. There was a Nike ad and they're working on a Nike ad. Ballers. I was watching everything, and I always watched Ballers. And when I was in accounting, I wanted to have a firm one day once I got my CPA and blah blah blah. But Ballers end up switching. They're kind of going on the branding side of things, and everything was sports marketing. So that's what I realized. I'm like, oh, I could do this, and I could work on that like 12 hours a day, which is basically what I've been doing. But yeah, love that. Did you guys win? Who won? They won. Okay. What was the score?
Got slapped.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm gonna lie. The teams were kind of lopsided, so I won't put that out there.
No, that's all right. Take it.
Yeah. Okay, here. Let's go. Let's run the second one back.
All right.
And then do the randoms again. Michael, were you gonna chime in there?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm glad that we were in conversation so Devin didn't get too embarrassed.
Yeah, honestly. Hey, Devin, you're welcome. You can transfer me later. Just kidding. Yeah, Devin, I think maybe we should kind of poke some holes at you a bit because I think we've been chatting with everyone else a bit more. So obviously you're talking about marketing. Do you have any? I don't know. I know Du and I, when we were teenagers, we worked at the local football stadium. Have you, I don't know, gotten involved part-time somewhere? Maybe with the Marauders somehow? Anything like that?
Yeah, so I haven't specifically got involved with McMaster at all, like with the Marauders. But I did have a marketing position just at a local food delivery, like meal prep company. Yeah. So I did that for a while, just part-time throughout school. Mostly just working on content creation and like just looking for new ways to bring in new customers for the business. Yeah. So that was really interesting, especially when COVID hit, because I was still working there at that time. So just transitioning from regular life into COVID life with food delivery was super interesting to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just like, what was it? I think it was yesterday. I was walking through a part of the city I live in, Ottawa, and here, first off, who'd you guys end up with? Pelicans and Hornets?
Yeah.
I gotta take my death again.
Again.
Yeah.
You haven't learned your lesson.
This time he's going to be the Lakers.
I went for my death team, so and I got.
Oh, that was your death team?
Miami.
Dude?
That was my death team. He got Miami. That's
Damn.
He's home, so you know.
Yeah.
You guys, come on. Even though, never mind. You already clicked it. That's fine. What was I gonna say? Something I was gonna touch on. What were we talking about right before?
Food delivery. You were walking through Ottawa.
Okay, I was walking through Ottawa the other day. And it's almost sad to see because there's a business that said, sadly, after 54 years, we're closing. And then you're seeing all these things. So obviously that's incredibly sad. And, it's tough to see, especially with everything that's going on. Well, I'm curious where the future businesses are going to, like what type of business are going to be popping up. Because obviously when one closes, one arises because it just gives room. Or that entrepreneur ends up, pivoting somewhere else. So I'm curious what the world's going to look like in at least 2 years, because I'm sure it's going to be crazy. Just with like drones flying around, sanitizing, I don't know. But I'm sure it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the world of sports is going to look like? So obviously there's tournaments that are going to take place. Like NHL, I think NBA is going to do like the playoffs, right? Well, NHL is doing a playoff, or NBA and NHL doing playoffs is what I meant. But what do you guys think the world of sports is going to look like in terms of like attendance, right? Because you got to respect the distance. You can't have too many people. Yeah. Mike, do you want to start with that since you're in ticket sales?
Yeah, of course. So luckily the project I'm working on isn't going to be built until 2021. So hopefully by then everything's going to be fixed. But I think it's going to take a long time for everything to get back to normal in terms. I think we'll need some sort of vaccine for full capacity stadiums to be back. It's just going to be too difficult, I think, without a vaccine to even have half capacity stadiums and actually be responsible.
No, 100%. I guess maybe that's a pretty easy question, I guess, now I'm thinking about it, just in terms of vaccines and all that. But one thing that I think is a good question is obviously there's so many sports rather than the top 4 or the major 4,
Mm.
what would a sport that you don't typically watch have to do to make you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to tune in today? Whether it's, let's say you're a football fan, American football, and you're going to end up saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to watch soccer today because X, Y, Z. What do you want to go with that? I know you're a basketball guy.
Asking like, what's the sport that like I decide to do?
I'll make a
with?
specific example because I know you. So look, basketball, right?
Yeah.
Let's say basketball takes place, I don't know, September or something. Let's say there's a sport in August, a few sports in August taking place. Whether it's hockey, soccer, or I don't know, Formula One. What would that specific league or teams or whatever have to do to pull you in to watch their specific event? It's putting you on the spot, but Devin, the question's coming to you too. So
Okay. All right.
just think it out.
What specific like thing a team would specifically do to kind of bring me in to watch that team before the sport that I watch? Is that the question basically?
So, how can I phrase it better? So obviously,
for me,
you're a basketball fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say basketball doesn't take place for another few months.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. And obviously being a basketball fan, there's still like a ceiling to at a point you're a sports fan as a whole where you eventually want to watch some sort of competition.
Yeah.
What would a sport or team need to pull you in to a different direction to watch your sport while basketball isn't on? Is what I'm basically saying.
I guess for me, more specifically, probably be like the intensity of the game.
Just like playoffs?
Yeah, like if it's a playoff game,
Okay.
I'd be more geared towards watching it. If we're talking about more specifically this year and what's going on, I mean, this is kind of going away from the aspect of the game, but like with everything that's going on in the world, if whatever like sport is like whatever league or sport is kind of like more emphasizing, they're using their platform for whatever else that's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'd maybe more be inclined to maybe watch that and see what they have to say.
So basically, like leagues or teams are like socially aware of things going on, and maybe like, oh, you know, I'm gonna give them a chance today and see what the sport's about because they're at least doing like one facet of their brand properly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think someone may have touched on that 2 streams ago last night. Devin, what about you?
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see kind of who the first league is to come back, just as far as like a first mover advantage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think it's just such a cool opportunity for whoever can get their act together and get back, because I think people just have a lot of time right now and are kind of looking for whatever they can to grab onto.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of leaves a unique opportunity for some leagues that might be not irrelevant, but like looking for more fans.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I haven't really thought of that on a personal level.
Mike, what about you? If Devin, I'll give you a few more minutes. Get Mike to chime in here.
Yeah. So I found myself this weekend watching 3 sports that I almost never watched in my life.
Okay.
First one was UFC on Saturday night.
Okay.
Not a big UFC guy, but the fact that it was on, I gravitated toward the TV, and they said it was one of the best fights that they've had in a long, long time. It was Hooker versus Poirier, or I don't know how to say his name, but
Poirier, yeah.
It's like a 5-round bout. It was pretty intense. So at this point, it's honestly just the fact that somebody's on. And then I also found myself watching NASCAR, and I want to touch on what Du said. I found myself watching NASCAR rooting for Bubba Wallace just because of what happened down at Talladega.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden I was watching it and realized that most of the drivers, that pushed him forward, and that was a really good sentiment that all the drivers and all of NASCAR really had when they had that act after what happened to Bubba. So, from here on out, maybe I'm going to watch a little bit more NASCAR. And then within quarantine or within COVID, the outbreak, I started playing a lot more golf. So I started watching golf more too. So I think if, not necessarily organically from the sport itself, but from the person here, like the fact that I found more connection in each of those sports has made me want to watch it a little bit more, especially now that all the sports aren't back yet. I know as soon as the MLB comes back, I'm going to tune into every Yankee game.
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And just kind of building off what you're saying of getting gravitated toward a specific sport, whether just emotionally or personally. You can also kind of transition that to the brands of the players, right? So obviously certain athletes have more pull than others. And maybe that's another question to have. What do you find typically is something that gravitates you to a specific athlete over another, whether it's LeBron, Tom Brady, I don't know, or like a no-name like fourth line hockey player? What kind of pulls you to one over the other? Maybe Devin, since Devin didn't.
I think for me, it's probably the blending of culture into sports, I guess.
Okay.
I really like when there's that blend of, and this would also go for a sports league that I'd be interested in watching more that I maybe haven't previously. But when you can blend culture, so music and fashion and sports kind of all together, I think that's really compelling. And I think there's a lot of athletes who do that really well with their personal brand. And I think that's kind of what separates a lot of these athletes from others, is just their ability to kind of blend all of that together to make who they are.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer. Dude, you want to chime in here and then we go to Mike?
I mean, for me, like what Devin said, most of the time for me, what really makes me gravitate towards a specific player is based on like what they kind of, how they go about themselves and how they represent themselves. That's from like the inside looking in. Of course, like if I'm looking at a player, me specifically, since I play the sport, if I'm looking at the game of basketball, I specifically like gravitate towards the type of people that I feel like the game should be played like. If that makes any sense.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, besides that, I'd be like the type of things that they represent on the court as well as off the court. And yeah, basically it for me.
Mike?
It's tough to root for somebody that you don't like. But it's weird. Like an athlete who has grit, I always gravitate towards, and maybe an athlete that's, that underdog mentality. So what I'm about to say is probably going to be controversial in a good way. I like watching LeBron because there's always that debate between him and Jordan. So, I'm a little young for Jordan. Like I saw some of his playing years, but not his prime playing years. So the fact that I get to watch LeBron play in his prime makes me want him to be better than Jordan was.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Is that true? I don't know. But
I think it's true.
I think that's more in terms of a generation type of thing, right? Like, obviously that whole generation is just going to choose whoever they saw because they can't even really compare it. But before we get into that, in terms of myself, I like what you guys were saying, Do and Devin, in terms of someone who can kind of compel all the aspects of things you like, whether it's fashion, music, whatever, and sport, and then do like kind of sport you like, and then Mike's almost kind of seeing greatness in front of your eyes and kind of just getting to experience it. Me personally, being a smaller statured person is in height, I like guys like Edelman, right? Like you just see like a shorter guy going through the middle just getting smacked, where I find when I played sports, I kind of put my head down. I'd be going against taller guys, and I'd have that underdog mentality where you're just kind of, you're trying to ram through guys where typically you shouldn't be the one running them over, but you are. So then guys like Edelman, yeah, I did run them over, dude knows. And then like Edelman, and then in hockey, like I'm a Sens fan, so Habs are the like rival, but I do like Gallagher, just a short, feisty guy that's just standing in front of the net, just getting whacked, and then just smiling and chirping back. So I love guys like that, and also like I've noticed too, and I don't think I've ever realized until last year, I tend to also like players who have a strong personal brand, and I never realized it until more recently once I finished school, that like Edelman, he has like a whole JE11 shop, and he's had it for a while, YouTube channel, all that stuff. And yeah, so that's another thing that I enjoy. But it's pretty interesting how maybe you as a person defines like who actually kind of makes a lot of sense now that I say it out loud, of who you kind of gravitate to. But in terms of the great Devin, you're doing better.
Thanks.
Yeah, you still got a chance.
I thought Devin was the Heat actually.
Devin is the Heat.
Devin is the Heat.
So on my stream here, I think I'm a few seconds behind because it's on my phone. It says it's 28-14.
No, that's what it is. I'm like too.
That's what we in the biz call not good.
Hey, but I've said this to everyone who's been a part of the stream. I don't care how good you are at gaming. If I wanted good gamers, I would have went the esports route and actually got pro gamers. But it's more in terms of just getting people who are going to be in the industry, connecting. And I know too, actually, nice. Today the names have been up the whole time. It's more about just connecting with people, right? So just having this initial interaction, I kind of wanted to make a unique networking experience during COVID, because you can't really go to a networking event and say, hi, I'm Chris, right? You kind of have to go in a distance. And I think this way, it breaks the barrier of that initial awkwardness that people may have at an event of, showing who they truly are. With, Devin, we get to see who he is right away because he's having these raw emotions of just, scoring or playing good defense, and you see him smiling and all that and turning around. And then, everyone's kind of has their guard down because you're watching sports, not real sports, but like, actually depends who you say it to, but you know what I mean? Kind of like a nice laid back environment where we can kind of get to know each other a bit better and have whatever type of dialogue. But yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do with this, and I think it's been going pretty well so far. I think we still have 24 streams to go, so I'll see what I say 24 streams from now. But yeah, actually, no, I won't say that yet. But yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say next. Lots of streaming, so I'm starting to run out of things. If you're listening to every single stream, I'm sorry if I'm repetitive sometimes. But yeah, anyone want to chime in here since I didn't realize how quick the game was going? By all means, this is your time to say whatever you want. Say, hey, like, actually don't promote your pod. No, I'm kidding. If you have a podcast, go ahead and promote it. But yesterday someone was on here and they're like, sorry, Chris, I need to promote my podcast. I'm like, nope. Stream over. It's a joke, but yeah. By the way, speaking of podcasts, check out The Route. No, that's not even what it's called. The Route. Check The Route on Apple, Google, Spotify, Castbox, Radio Public, 3 other platforms I don't even remember the names of. Breaker, that's one.
Sure.
It's all over the place. So if you listen to a major podcast streaming service, it's on there. Google or stream, or not Google or stream. Search The Route. It's going to be one of the first options, first or second one. Check it out. There's all types of guests. Business development, marketing, sales, commercial, anything. And it's all levels of people as well. So you go from students all the way to, presidents of teams. So it's definitely something to check out. And I know at least myself, if no one tunes in to the next 5 episodes, that's fine with me because I have a notebook full of amazing advice and I'm running away with gold. So do as you wish, but obviously people listen and check it out if you haven't already.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, check that out.
What do you mean, dude? I know you checked that out. Dude's my top.
I
fan.
check it out for sure. I check that out, for sure.
I'll actually be realistic. Mike, have you ever seen it or heard it?
The Route?
Yeah.
I heard about it on yesterday, so Sunday morning when I was listening to your podcast with Alicia on the Living Sport podcast. So
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool. So
Speaking of that, I was a guest back on Alicia's podcast a few months ago, so
nice.
you can check that out too, and I'll check out yours.
Yeah,
So,
I'll check out your podcast for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was about an hour long. So
Yeah, the Living Sport podcast is a good one. And speaking of Living Sport, that's the presenting sponsor of Nascimento Marketing's 32 Blitz. So definitely check out their content. They have a bunch of great stuff. And, they have great guests like Mike and myself. So clearly there's something good there.
yeah. Apply for their Nashville trip in August too.
Yeah. Mike, do you have something to say? Because I think you maybe sent something.
No, I mean,
No?
not necessarily. I just I went to Barcelona and London
There you go.
with Living Sports. So I mean, I've had a great time, connected with over 200 people now because of Living Sport in terms of the network that it organically has. So it's definitely a great way to get into the industry. We have people all over the world and all over working in different sports and different industries. So it's a lot of fun.
It's a great network too, and now when you kind of think of it as a business as a whole, it's a great way to kind of start developing a larger and larger network every year, because it's kind of almost like this stream in a sense, just on a way bigger platform where people spend weeks at a time together, and then they actually build that incredibly strong connection, and then just kind of go from there.
Yeah.
And then in a year's time, because I know I had a prof in university who's always saying, hey, like go study abroad if you get the opportunity to for your master's. And I think he went for 2 years in Ireland, and there's 25 students in his cohort, and they're all best friends 30 years later. They're all speaking, they go to each other's weddings. That's how they got in each other's jobs 20 years later, because Marissa's husband, who they met because of another friend, he actually works for this company, and that's how my professor got his job. So it's a crazy melting pot that you'll be able to experience, I'm sure, on something like Living Sport. But yeah,
World of sports is super small.
Yeah, exact 100%. Speaking of that, and just kind of going back to my podcast, so I lived in Boston for 1 year, right? And I had a friend of mine who I was friends with in grade 7. He messaged me like, "Hey, I saw your this episode. It was great. I went to the University of Ohio. I'm gonna send my buddy this podcast because he works for the Cavaliers. It was the Cavaliers podcast, or with the director of business development. He sends it to his friend to check out because he's like, hey, you may work with this guy." And his friend answers him back right away, and he's like, "Oh no, I've actually already seen it. The whole team's already seen it." And I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Starting a podcast in Ottawa, my friend in Boston, and then his friends in Ohio. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But just a little nice little thing you need to say. So that's the Route podcast on all major platforms. But yeah, Devin, yes.
I was just nodding. Sorry.
I thought you went to put your hand up or say something. Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. But yeah, dude. I'm guessing a clean sweep, correct?
Yeah.
Look, Devin, you hate to see it. You're a great guest, but
It's a tough one. We got to just roll with the punches now. It's okay.
Yeah, and look, Devin's going to be back stronger and better. He's going to be putting those thumps to work. He's going to work on his jumper, maybe his defense a bit, but he's back.
Where going,
If these were full games, you would have won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry about that. That's my fault. But yeah, the stream is basically it. You guys are done. Maybe right before you guys go, maybe kind of just say what you guys are about one last time. So with the millions of people watching and, future employers, because to be honest, I'm sure future employers may find this. Say what you're about, what you want to do with your career, because this is kind of the perfect opportunity to do so and a welcoming space to do it as well. So maybe kind of go again from top to bottom. Say Amadou, say your name, what you want to do, and where they can find you, or maybe LinkedIn or Instagram, or anywhere they can message you.
All right, all good. So, name's Amadou. I'm going into business and technology management. It's my first year for Concordia. At the moment, right now, I don't have a brand or anything to kind of push out, but I do want to say that with what I'm at the end, like the goal I'm trying to get into is with managing business in tech, and then also incorporating that into sports. But for anybody that's interested or anything like that, when I'm finished, I will be there. You know, I'm trying my best to kind of get the world, like the best of both worlds, from tech and communications into business, and then also with sports. So that's about what I got to offer for the most part.
No, that's good stuff.
Sweet.
Devin?
Yeah, so Devin here. Yeah, I guess just in the future, really interested in marketing in sports specifically. I think sports are just a great way for people to connect, for people to come together. And I really see that in marketing as well as a strategy to reach and connect with consumers. So I think it kind of all just ties back to that human connection and bringing people together. And that's the philosophy that I live by and I want to pursue in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Mike, let's finish it off.
Sounds good. So my name's Mike, currently the premium sales managers for Legends at the University of Utah. Right now I'm doing what I want to do, but as I grow my career, I eventually want to be the president of a Big Four sports team. So.
No, yeah, I love it. Well, yeah. That's it for the stream. I'm Christopher Nascimento of Nascimento Marketing. You can see that on top of the banner. If you want to reach out to any of us, you can message me at Nascimento Marketing, and I'll gladly put you in contact with whomever from the stream. Additionally, the names here on the Zoom call should just be on the bottom left of the screen of each of us. Amadou Dream, Christopher Nascimento, Devin Fleming, and Michael Wasco. Whoever, just type those names into LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll be able to get in contact with all of us. So thank you for tuning in. Unless there's anything else for you guys that you want to say, I think that's going to be it. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Chris.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much, guys.
No problem.